We have a new to us 2005 Mini Winnebago, and the previous owner left some antifreeze in the tank, and I was trying to figure out how to drain the tank. So I'm going to walk through a process of doing it with you, just so you'll know. One of the things you're going to want to do is drain your hot water heater. You want to make sure your hot water heater is not turned on and make sure it's cold. The book actually says to unplug this red wire here at the ECO. Mine was corroded. I'm a little bit afraid to yank that out because I'm afraid I'll yank the whole plug out of whatever's behind that. But since this was cold and hasn't been lit in ages, and it's a gas system and not an electrical system, I left that alone. You loosen this plug to drain the hot water heater. You want to make sure you've got your water off. In other words, don't have your pump on, don't have a line hooked to your truck, and run the hot water faucet inside the camper to take the pressure off of it. Ask me why that's important. If you look at me, you can see I'm probably still covered in water. Another thing you can do is you can flip this switch up while this is, once you open this, water is going to run out, and you flip this up. This is a basically pressure relief valve. Looks like it's relieving a little pressure right now. I just got water back in it, but when you're draining this, this will allow air to go in through here and make the flow out of here so that it's not like pouring it out of a Coke bottle where it throbs. The other thing I couldn't locate at first was the drain for the water tank. That's your water tank right there. The drain for it is here, up here, where it's kind of, you don't really see it. You just have to reach up in there and you can get your hand in here and move it like that. And now that is draining. So I'm going to shut that back off for now, because you've also got a water line drain, a couple of them over here. There's one, there's the other, and you see there's still some red in that line. Now one thing about these is if you cut your pump on, that's what this is, it's an outside switch. You cut your pump on and then you throw this valve, then it's pumping water out, not just draining it. Which I did two things here. I filled it with fresh water. I put about a cup of bleach in the water because I wanted to not only run all of the antifreeze out, but I wanted to basically purify the tank. I can cut that off and cut this one on. I think this is probably just hot and cold, that would be my guess. And that's, you can see there's still a little red. So that's basically running that through the lines down here. I did the same thing in the bathroom. In other words, I went to the bathroom, I put the hot shower on, I put the hot water faucet in the bathroom sink on, and I put the hot water faucet in the kitchen sink on. One of the things you have to do after you've drained this hot water heater, that's full of air, so you have to turn your pump on and let your pump refill the hot water heater. Now you do all this while it's cold. You don't do it when it's hot, or when the if it's electric, you don't want electric hooked to it because it'll burn up an element, and if it's gas, you don't want gas heating an empty tank. So the only thing left for me to do now is, first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this drain, and I can see, having a visual indicator is really good, so I can see my tank and I can see that it's this full now. So what I can do is I can reach up here, throw this valve like that, and that's now draining. That's just a gravity drain. And I could go in and look at my little electronic gauges if I wanted to see, you know, when it's empty. But to be honest with you, I can also sit right here and I can look at it, and there's a kind of a darkish line about halfway up the tank. That's where the water is. So when that darkish line moves to the bottom of the tank, she'll be empty. What I'll do at that point is I'll throw both these valves again with the pump on. I'm going to go ahead and turn the pump off and flush them one last time. After I do that, I'll be ready to refill this with water. In order to refill it with water, basically stick a water hose here. This is an air vent, so that when you put your hose in there, it's automatically vented for air. And if you put too much in that tank, it overflows back out. So you should be good. And what I was able to do is put my hose in here. I'll go ahead and stick it in. And then I kind of laid the hose up on top of this. Sort of like this. So that it's kind of sits there. So that when I get ready, when that's empty and I flush out those last two lines, I can refill the water tank with the hose there. So I hope that was helpful to you, and I hope you have a great day. There was one more piece of this I forgot, and that's this little hose. I also wanted to flush it out, and this one has a knob on the back of it. If you turn that knob, it cuts that off. So I'm trying to hold my camera and turn that knob. So when I first cut it on, it wasn't working, but that's why it wasn't working. That knob needs to be thrown. And basically cut this off up here. There you go. And then let's go back up there.